This is a peach tree that has been in the ground for 3 seasons of growing. By the 3rd season, the branching structure of the tree should already be established all through here. 45-degree angles are best. Is there much that I have to do to encourage this kind of growth? Remember, 3rd year in the ground, if you've been pruning properly, the branching structure should be established. Let me get rid of this protector, pull it down. What I don't like about this tree is how high the limbs are above the ground. This is all wasted space. If I had picked this tree, I would have picked a tree with branches that were lower so I could remove them to about the height of my knee. I didn't have that option with this tree. There's one change in here to change the structure, and it's here. Evidently, the light to the inside of this canopy stimulated the growth. This is all last year growth. That's going to come out. And so I'm going to focus my efforts right now. I'm looking at this one. I'm probably going to take that here and see if I can get a branch going lower. That's really hard to find in peach and nectarine. Moving to the next one now, this also on this row has been in for 3 years. Let me pull this protector out of the way. I'm checking to make sure there's no suckers that have to be removed. But again, the branching structure has been established. If you look in here, here's the central leader, and I've got my scaffold limbs coming out. If I'm going to do anything at all, these two are on top of each other. I'm not going to remove it, but I'm going to do some pruning so that I can get more light on this other limb below it. This limb on the top is producing quite a bit of shade over here. This is on the northeast side of the tree. But there's not a lot of structural changes, architectural changes I'm going to make on this tree. The limbs it's limbed appropriately, it's high enough. Going to the next tree now. Now I like how low the limbs are starting to come from the trunk. And then I terminated the tree here 3 years ago, and caused those branching, establishing those scaffold limbs. Now I'm looking right now, this is open center, and as peach tree should be. What can I do here to reestablish the open center if there's too much shade? Because what the tree wants to do now, because there's light in the center, it's going to send up shoots and growth into that area if they're available. The nice thing about peach is that it doesn't sucker that well. So I probably am going to think about this one and possible altering or removal. If I've got a lot of trees like there are here, I would just remove it. But if I've got time and I've only got a half a dozen trees or a dozen trees, I might play with that a little bit and make about 4 or 5 cuts. But it's a lot faster for me if I get in here and just make 1 cut there and open the center up. There's not much to do on that tree. Moving to the next tree now. Again, peach. It's peach. It's been in the ground for 3 years. I'm looking at the architecture of the tree. Remember that in the 1st year of growth, we're doing about 90% of our pruning is focused on creating a good structure. The 2nd year, about half of our pruning is creating a good structure. In the 3rd year, it should be there. It should already be established. So right now, I'm worried about its height. Its height right now is probably about 9 feet. So I'm going to bring that down to 8 feet because my maximum height I want on these trees, because of the spacing between these trees in the row is about 10 feet. So is 10 feet. So my maximum height on these trees after they grow this year is going to be 10 feet tall. So I'll readjust the top of this. I can see that this is creating some shade in the center. I'll get rid of that. This one is all new growth from last year. That'll come out, and that should be enough to reestablish the sun in the center of the tree. Okay, looking at this tree now in the row. Again, maximum height's going to be 10 feet. It's about 8.5 feet now. So that's about where I want it. I'm going to be looking for a lot of stuff that's going upwards, and I'll be taking that out, cleaning out the center, allowing more sunlight to come in. So I won't take them all out because I can reach that and I can get fruit production. The rest of this stuff, the red stuff, like this is last year's growth, it's going to remove fruit, but less than 5% of all the fruit that could be made by this tree is actually we're going to leave it on and harvest the fruit from it because we want larger, tastier fruit. The tree doesn't care about that. The tree just wants to reproduce itself. So but the structure is there. Again, we're looking at this tree. The structure is there. It's a good structure. It's a little high. I'd like some limbs a little bit lower, but it's open. I'll clear out the center with loppers, taking out some big limbs if they're necessary. I don't really see a lot in here that needs to be taken out. The next stage is pruning for production. Again, the height, I'll bring the height down. It's around 9 feet tall, so I'll bring it down to about 8.5 feet tall, let it grow up to 10 feet, and then just keep it. As these trees get larger, they're into their 4th, 5th year, they're going to start to grow together. And I will prune them so that I can get between them and I can spray between them, I can harvest between them. I don't want to turn them into a hedge. Now, working to the next tree here, again, it's open center, as peach or nectarine should be. And with that, I'm looking for growth on the inside that's going to stop the sun. This one is growing to the inside. This one, there's some over there that we'll probably need to take out. Maybe 4, 5, 6 cuts with the loppers will be all that I'll need to reestablish the center and open it again. This tree, it's pretty good. There's you can see some growth in here that needs to come out. That one, to reestablish that open center again and let the sun come into the center of the tree. Here, this one, I don't know if we can reach the fruit on this anymore. That may need to come out, and that'll reestablish the open center again. But again, here's the height of the tree here, and I'll bring it down a little bit to reestablish that height. But that one, I don't think I can reach the fruit, or anybody can reach the fruit from any direction. You know, another strategy is to remove limbs so that you can get to the end. So I could remove this one, and then I could get in the inside and harvest that fruit and leave it. I just have to still manage the light on the inside. Here's another tree, 3rd year in the ground. This case, the trunk was painted with white latex paint, diluted half and half with water for sun protection. And again, I'll open the center with some of these cuts here. Once I have light penetrating to the center, I'll be okay again. This tree in the row, nice. I like where these limbs are coming. You know, about 1 tree out of 100 does exactly what you're hoping it will do. And this is a tree that looks like it's done quite a bit of that. I can see that there's a little bit of growth to the center. If you can see that on the inside, I'll remove some of that new growth, open up the center again. I can see there's one up here. I'll pull this out. Any of that upright growth, not any, but some of that upright growth I'm going to remove because it's really focused more on growth than it is on fruit production. And I want fruit. I don't care about the growth on it so much. I don't care. As far as eating, I don't care about the growth so much. Here's one that was planted 2 years ago in this row. I guess the one died. I'm going to reestablish the open center again with it, and I'm probably going to take it off in this area. It's just a little too high for an open center. And if I take this tree out here, I'll have this tree, I'll have that trunk, I'll have that scaffold. This one will start to develop, and I can reestablish that open center again and get my production lower on the tree. This one has also been in the ground only 2 years. It's got white latex paint on it, but I need to open the center on this since it's in its 2nd year with that. And as I'm looking at it, I'm probably going to try, that's too high. I would like to go lower. I'd like to come in here somewhere. I don't know if I can do it or not without sacrificing too much. If I do take it up here, I'm going to have to make sure that center is open for light, good light distribution on the inside of the canopy and better fruit production. But that's it on this row, tree by tree.